what do we got here? These are viewing tapes from the editors.
Well, and this is all the stuff that doesn't make it into the show, and there's some solid gold on these tapes.
You mean like all the screw-ups and things?
No, the screw-ups make it into the show. It's little experiments that didn't get cut in because of time constraints or other factors that, really support the myths that we did, and some really good stuff here. That's an outtake.
We keep trying to up the bar on this stupid stuff we're doing.
In this special Outtakes episode, Fighting the Clock, the scenes we wanted to show you,
I think we cured my chronic back problem,
but couldn't fit into the original shows.
It's all about man's inhumanity to man.
At last, we're getting them to air, so we can finally get rid of those tapes. Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
I kind of like it in here. It's private.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
That was intense.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Okay, well, what's first up?
Well, this is a classic case of a story under which we have no control over the circumstances. We were shooting in a protected wildlife sanctuary. We had experts on hand to make sure we did not mess with the local flora and fauna, and one of the local fauna came and messed with us.
So you'd be referring to the ping pong rescue?
Without a doubt.
In Ping Pong Rescue, the challenge was to raise a boat from the bottom of Monterey Bay using thousands of ping pong balls. Challenge enough, but there was a problem they didn't expect, and you didn't see.
We're actually about to potentially release like 60,000 ping pong balls into this marine sanctuary. And what would be like a worst case scenario with those ping pong balls, do you think?
Well, we would want to make sure that no marine animals swallowed them, for example.
What are the penalties for interfering with or actually harming a marine mammal?
The penalties are actually very severe.
So we'd have to choose maybe a member of our crew who would take the blame?
I don't know, that would be up to you.
To contain the balls and protect wildlife, they ran a boom around the site, then got to work. But they didn't count on this guy. Turns out sea otters have absolutely no respect for booms or myth-busting or other people's property. Now, either he thought the ball was food, or he was really enjoying freaking out the crew.
Oh man, that's really cute.
Cute, huh? Tell that to the judge.
In Monterey Bay, ping pong ball plus otter equals jail time for at least some member of the crew. I think we'd have to draw straws to figure out who.
Jokes aside, no one wanted that otter harmed. The ball was too big for him to swallow, but they needed to get it off him. Support crew to the rescue.
Oh, he's playing.
Fortunately for everyone, the thief made good his escape, leaving his booty behind.
Well, those otters were incredibly smart. Not only did they find the balls on the surface, but they found the source of the balls, and we couldn't get them to stay away from it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we actually did not harm any of them, because there's only 2,500 of them left. I mean, it's a super endangered species, and that we got that otter to eventually sign a release and give us permission to show it.
Well, now that we've got permission, can we destroy the tape?
Yeah, here you go. Well, next up is one of the simplest and yet most controversial stories that we've ever done, and we get to show the experiment that proves we got it right.
In Plywood Builder, the Mythbusters tested the story of the construction worker who was blown off a building. He saved himself by holding onto a sheet of plywood and flying himself back into the floor below. The vital component to this story was control as he was lifted off the building. Could he possibly hold onto that board and guide the descent? To test it, they set up a zip line. And in the show, you saw Adam take that ride.
I fart on you!
You never saw Jamie struggle to jump off that building, or heard how windy it in fact was, like the myth.
The more fun that this job gets, the more unfun it gets at times. We keep trying to up the bar on this stupid stuff we're doing. Hopefully I won't get killed in the process.
Grab the screen, Jamie.
Okay.
And ready to go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we go.
Jamie's a strong guy, but the wind resistance on that plywood sheet was more than he could handle.
Well, I don't care what anybody says. You know, they clocked me going down that zip line at about 15 miles an hour, and I could barely hold on to the plywood, much less control it.
Yeah, I mean, buildings can definitely generate huge updrafts, over 100 miles an hour in some cases, but that force would rip the plywood right out of your hands, and that's what we were trying to prove with the zip line.
And do you remember that piece of plywood was whipping around so much that Christine just flat out refused to do the drop?
You look a little apprehensive.
I'm surviving this moment, yes.
Christine intended to be the third down the line. But what with the wind and that big board?
You say when you're comfortable.
I'm not comfortable, but I'm gonna go.
Do it as soon as you can, Kristen.
Okay, I'm going to ease it down so it takes up the slack, okay?
Okay.
Okay, standing by, everybody.
It's your call.
I can't do it.
It's okay. You call it. It's okay.
I can't do it.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go up and talk to him.
She's adamant there's no way she's going to do it.
Which raises the question, is Adam Savage really the guy you want around to get you over your vertigo?
There's nothing about it that's not scary. Without a doubt, there's nothing about it that isn't scary.
Soothing words indeed. Strangely, they don't seem to have worked.
I want to so much. I really want to do it for you. I can't.
Time to call in backup.
No.
All right, give it a call, say I just can't do it.
I'm really sorry. I can't do it.
Christine, you know I'm afraid of heights, don't you?
Jamie was whimpering like a girl.
So, Christine, you're not going to do it for the team?
That psychology ain't working.
Finally, they call in the big guns. The producer. He carries quite a bit of weight around here.
Get on there.
Get it over with.
I don't think you're paying me enough money. Oh. Can I negotiate that now?
Christine, these are for you. So what's next?
You know, it really bugs me that we go to all this physical effort. You know, we put our bodies on the line on these shows, and then there's only a little tiny bit of it that gets in.
What, you mean like Scotty and Tori's hours of rack time for Chinese water torture?
You saw 2 attempts to put water torture to the test. Adam spent the day in a comfy chair, being dripped on, until his bladder could take no more.
Oh my God!
But Carrie was strapped down, and her head restrained. It eventually got the better of her.
I actually don't want to do this test right now.
All right, let's get her out.